Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel, Channeling Jesus and Ananda. We're going to do another installment of How to Save Your Life. These are Course in Miracles stories from people that I've met and know, just letting you know how A Course in Miracles has transformed them. So today we're speaking with Gino Parisi. He's in England, and I met Gino at one of my retreats a few years ago. How are you doing, Gino?
Hello, Tina. I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome. I love hearing these stories because usually when I meet people at retreats, I don't have time to sit down for an hour with them and have a chat about how things are going. So this is also really lovely for me. So thanks for that. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Just relax and answer them as best you can. It's not a test. You can't fail. So how long have you been doing A Course in Miracles?
So I started the course in November 2018.
Okay.
I was aware of it in the summer of 18, and I sort of was introduced to you in the summer of 18.
Okay.
And I'd listened to all your videos on YouTube. I think I'd read all your books, and I kind of delayed the course. And then I started it in November of 2018, and then we had the retreat, I think, in the July 2019.
Yeah, something like that.
I was quite a newbie at it at the retreat, I think, when I first met you.
Yes.
And I've done it, I think I've just completed it now for the 4th time.
Oh, wow, that's a lot. Yeah. And that's the lessons. How are you doing with the text?
So the text, I'm working through the text. And I'm following your videos with that, but also just doing it myself as well.
Right.
And having done my 4th year, gosh, I'm going to devote this year now to doing the text, solely the text, and reading every morning. Right.
Because interestingly, I only did the lessons once, but I read the text 25 times. So that's how I did it. And there's no right or wrong way. That obviously you need to do the lessons, the first year of lessons. But I wasn't drawn to doing the lessons again. I was drawn to reading the text, I think partly because I couldn't understand what the hell it was saying.
Yeah.
Right. And I have always had really good reading comprehension, and it frustrated me that I couldn't understand it.
I've done it 4 times, I think, because it helped me stay on track.
Yeah.
And it gave me a direction every day, every morning when I got up, that it gave me a direction that this was going to be my focus for the day.
Right. Yes.
I think that really, really helped.
Yes.
Over the years to stay focused on it and keep my practice up. And so I've dedicated this year now that I will do the same, but read the text.
Awesome. But
it is difficult to read at times, I must admit.
Yes.
And when I started the course, I think what delayed me and the challenge I had with the course was that I was brought up a very strict Catholic boy in a Catholic all boys school in England. And it was run by priests and monks. So we were like literally the Bible. I've probably read about 4 times the Bible in school.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge for me was when you pick up the text, it feels like the Bible.
Yes.
Even the pages feel like the Bible. The little font feels like the Bible. And of course, as soon as the word God comes in, the fallen Catholic, that's like, oh, hang on, this makes no, this is not what I want to hear about.
How about we call you a recovering Catholic rather than a fallen one? That might be a better way of it. Okay, so but why did you start the course? Why did you start it?
I started it because what led me to do the course was I was working in a corporate position. I'd been working for the sort of government institutions ever since I left uni back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And I was working for the health institution run by the government in the UK. And I was very focused on career, success, money, idols. And it got to the point in 2018 where I couldn't do it anymore. And I realized I was just so miserable. And I literally walked out of a job one day and fell to my knees in the car park saying, I can't do this anymore.
That's the perfect place for the course to come in.
Yeah, in the car park.
Yeah, in the car park on your knees.
Yeah, but literally, Tina, I was sat on the floor, leaning against my car with my head in my hands, going, I don't know what to do. I can't do this anymore. Having years of being built up, thinking, God, I hate this. So I took 3 months off work, and I was sat at home, and I don't know, I found YouTube, and I found your videos.
Oh, see, your mind was in that moment. You were teachable, right?
Yeah. And I mean, for that summer, I had 3 months off. All I did was literally, from the moment I got up to the moment I went to bed, was listen to your videos.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
I've probably listened to every single one of your videos. And then I bought your books, read those. And of course, the videos and the books, they do direct you to the course.
Yes.
And I knew it was like there. I knew I had to do it. I knew there was a pull. And I think I was preparing myself for that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I was preparing myself. And I had to face that God thing that I had in my head, the sort of anti-religious thing that the idea that the way that I was taught in school about God, it just didn't resonate with me. I didn't like God. I'm going to be honest. I didn't like that God. I thought he was cruel. Jesus was his son, so he was like, like father, like son. So
and maybe like Jesus is pretending to be nice, but that is his dad over there.
And he's gonna go with his dad before he goes to me. So so it was very much, I've got to get over that. And when I started the course, I had to sort of just battle through that. And I really had to fight through that. No, I'm still going to read it. I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to listen to those words. I'm still going to read those words. The Son of God, all those very biblically religious words, which would have instilled in me hatred, anger, bad memories that I would have probably walked away from. And I kind of started, like your videos and your books and the course itself. I thought, right, I'm going to start this. But I was always worried that there was going to be something that was going to go, right, see, I got to stop this now. This isn't working for me. Right. And I was kind of waiting for that. And I kind of...
You're still waiting?
It was 6 years later. I've stopped waiting because I know it's not going to happen. And there was nothing in your videos or the channels or the books that kind of made me go, here we are, is the Catholics again.
Oh, right, yeah.
And nothing has ever done that. And that's why I know it resonates with me.
And that's pretty miraculous when you think about it. You think of all the thousands of hours of recordings and teachings, because I think about that too. When I do a retreat, for example, and they're channeling for 4 days, I'm like, how can they continue to make this interesting? How can they continue to be so impeccable? Yeah. But they are all the time.
And I've read your books several times. And again, it's like reading a new book.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you're changing, right?
It's like, oh, I'll have a read of this again. And it's like a whole new book.
Right.
So that's how the course came in. And it's 6 years, coming up to 6 years now, it still plays a major part in my life, and every day the course is in my life. It doesn't mean, I carry the book around with me, but after 6 years.
Well, the book's in here right now, right?
And if you read, I think the conclusion of after the workbook is, there is no need for words anymore. Because it's all up there, and everything now that I do say, think, even though I trip up sometimes, I go, I bring it back to the course. How do I relate that to the teachings? Always. My whole day revolves around that.
Yeah. And for people who don't know the course, they might think that that's kind of cumbersome or obsessive. But I have the same experience where if anything happens to cause me disturbance, you immediately go to the teachings, and usually, not always, but usually it's resolved pretty quickly because you see what you're doing. You see
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
you're in the future, or you're blaming somebody or something, right? But I've actually, and I say this to people, and I'd like to hear your comment on this, is living with the course is much less work than living with the ego in charge.
Oh my God, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Because now I think when I look back, like pre-course,
Yes.
I think, oh my God, how did I survive? How did I get through all that? Because I was in so much, my life was chaos.
Yeah.
And it was all in my mind. It was all created by my mind.
Yes.
And I never had one moment's peace. I only realized I never had peace then because I get peace now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I can compare the way I am now. For example, our dishwasher broke. Now, pre the course, that would have ruined my whole day.
Yes.
That would have been devastation. I would have been angry. I would have been. Now it's like, oh, it's okay. Just get the repair.
Wash them by hand.
Yeah, and then the repairman came this morning, and it was 150 quid. It's okay.
Right.
And I can still remain in peace. Now, okay, maybe that's just an example of a silly example of a dishwasher, but that's
not if it ruins your day. Not if it ruins your day.
And those little things all add up to having a terrible day. Now, today I had peace 99.9% of the day today. I can honestly say I've had peace.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing, isn't it, peace? When you didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was either.
Exactly. I didn't know I thought that was what life was supposed to be like.
Yeah.
And that's what people were telling me. If I said, oh, I hate my job, well, you've got to put out, that's life. That's life. And ever since I was young, I always thought, whenever someone said to me, well, that's life, I always thought, well, no, there's got to be something different.
Yeah. There has to be a better way.
Yeah. And I remember, and I didn't have the best childhood. I remember as a child, and this memory, which makes sense now, that never made sense to me, was when I was little, I used to have this dream where I was in this place where I was blissfully happy, and I was able to do anything I wanted. I had the power to do anything. I could fly, I could swim, and I was blissfully happy. And it was almost like magic. I could create things instantly, and I was so happy. And then I would wake up, and for a couple of split seconds, I could still feel that place. And then the realization that I was coming to this place and thinking, oh my God, I can't do any of that here.
Yeah.
And then I would sink into this depression.
Oh, interesting.
And it never made sense to me as even as an adult until I recently, when I thought that dream was telling me what the truth is.
Yes. And that's what the course teaches us is possible, right? Is to be that happy. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was obviously aware of that as a child, but then the indoctrination just ripped that away from me.
Don't you wonder? I do. I wonder this sometimes, and you think about the school system, and I'm English, so, being in England and all of the rules and regulations of the English society, what our lives would have been like if we had been raised in a loving family, in a loving society that was aligned with truth. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
That you wouldn't have had to forget that.
No.
Right.
And remember the first day that I was sent off to this Catholic boarding school.
Oh God, you poor thing.
I was literally so happy. And literally by the end of the day, my whole life just turned. For the next 10 years, I was in that prison.
And you were 7 at that time?
I was 6, 7. I was 6. I was 6. Just turning 7 in the October. So it would have been September. I was 6 and I turned. And when I was 16, I managed to get out.
And 10 years of prison.
Yeah. And it was literally bashed. The Bible was physically sometimes bashed into you.
Mm-hmm.
Went to mass 5 times a week. We prayed 5 times a day. and we had these priests looking after us every single day, and being told that I was a sinner, that I was bad, I would go to hell, all those things. So opening the course was a big thing for me, because it talks
Yes.
about God.
Yes.
It even looks like a Bible. The pages feel, and I had to battle through it. I thought, this is not, and having listened to your videos and read your books, this is not the God that I've been taught. This is
Yes.
a different God, and it's okay. He loves me regardless
Yes.
of
Fascinating. Well, I mean, when you think about it, that story, you look at a little 6-year-old boy. If you look at a 6-year-old boy today and think, oh my goodness, imagine sending that child into that environment. But it must really, when you actually look at it objectively, you think, oh, wow, you've come such a long way by doing the course. And I think this is, this is one of the things that I want to kind of get across to people who are watching these videos, is it doesn't matter where you've come from. I mean, I came from an abusive marriages and poverty and all kinds of things. And you've come from that situation. It doesn't matter. The course is a universal language. It doesn't matter what your past is. And you can do it with, if you're a practicing Jew, you can do the course. If you're a Buddhist, you can do, if you're an atheist, might be a bit harder to do it, but you could still do the lessons.
Yeah.
Because Jesus is very clear. He says, you don't have to believe the lessons. You don't have to understand the lessons. You just have to do the lessons.
And that really helps, because you don't, when you start, you don't really understand the lessons. You think, what the hell is going on? But just do it. Just do it. And over time, you can see those changes occur in your life.
Yeah. So, but speaking of the lessons, one of the questions is, what was your experience of doing the lessons? So a lesson every day for 365 days. How did that go for you? What was your experience?
I think that the first time I did it, it was far more challenging, because you're bringing something new in. And at that time I was working, a 45-hour week. I was having to get up early, have a job. And, you have, it was almost like, well, it's 5 minutes of my morning. I can manage that, to the whole day. And I would have to put reminders on my phone. I would have Post-its all over my desk and work, or the car, just to remind me.
Yep.
So in itself, the course is simple.
Yeah.
You've got a simple couple of lines. That's all you have to do. It's simple, but it's not easy, if that makes sense.
Well, we're not simple. We're very complicated creatures, and our society is very complicated. And there, Jesus talks about in the course, this incredible learning feat that we have been through just to learn how to function in this society. And we don't realize how trained we are. And that's why we get in so much trouble, because we're trained out of our own guidance, our own intuition. But when you start the course, you do realize, and I don't know if you had this experience, you're like, I don't remember this lesson for 7 hours a day. What am I thinking about? Where is my mind? And I want to learn it. There's a part of my mind that wants to do this, but 7 hours goes by and I don't even know what I'm thinking about.
Exactly. And you think, oh my God, I completely forgot what the lesson was today, because I've been so sucked into what I call the system.
Yeah.
Who's deprived me of being free to do what I want or think the way I want. And, for me, although I escaped school at 16, 17, from there I went to college, I went to uni, I went to...
you didn't escape the system.
No, I didn't. I was in it until I was, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
52 now.
Yeah.
So when that course came, that is what allowed me to really break free from the system.
Amazing, hey?
So I started that in the November of 18. I obviously did that for a year. I started it again. I met you at the retreat in the July of 19. And if I remember right, well, for me, the theme of that retreat was, and I remember a meditation was, stand on the edge of the cliff and we want you to step off. And for me, that was about breaking free from work, from that system.
Right.
And then the March after that, then the pandemic came. So I didn't have to go to work. I worked from home and I loved it.
Yes.
And then in the November the following year, and during that time, I found work completely intolerable, to the point, although I was working at home, Tina, I was doing Skype meetings or whatever they call them. And I just had to shut my computer because I could not, the energy of that was just making me feel physically bad.
Well, you weren't a match for it anymore, right? You've done the course now for a couple of years, and now
it was like, no way.
Yeah.
And then the trigger was that in the November 21, I caught COVID. And I was lying in bed, so ill. I've never been so ill in my entire life.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
And that made me reflect. And the message I kept hearing in my head was, don't worry, you're not going back. You're not going back. And you know what? I never did. I never went back.
So the next question is, what transformations have you experienced doing ACIM? So you can carry on to what are you doing now? What transformation?
So that was for me, the major transformation in my life, that I left that system.
Yes.
And so that question is answered by, right, if my external world, as the course says, is a reflection of my inner world.
Yes.
When I look at my external world now, there is nothing remaining in it pre-course. The only thing that's remaining is the house that we live in, and it's up for sale and we're moving.
Okay.
That's the only thing that is left. I've moved away from friends that didn't serve me. I've moved away from family that didn't serve me. My personal sort of relationship, my marriage has been improved. It's healed. It's on a completely different level now. I'm free. I used to be a corporate person. Now I'm an artist.
Yay!
And that came in really, really quickly when I started the course.
Yeah.
So I started, within 12 months, I'd converted my garage into a studio. Didn't know where it was going. I started painting. That really has exploded in that. And now when people say, what do you do for a living? I'm an artist. I'm an artist. I've always been an artist.
Yes.
It's just I wasn't allowed to be. But now I'm in control of my life. The course has given me control. So I choose, that's what I want to do.
Right.
That's what I want to do. And for me, that's a major transformation. Now, another sort of one would be pre-course. I'd always been spiritual. I'd always read about spirit and mediums. I'd always gone to mediums, and I always dabbled in stuff like that. And my party trick when I used to get drunk was give people a mediumship reading. That was my
reading. Okay.
And that, but since the course, I don't drink anymore. I don't smoke anymore. I don't do other things anymore. And that did develop when the course,
All right.
I started to do channeling, but then I didn't really want to do it. I thought, no, this is not. But what has happened is I consciously now channel my art, and it's a conscious thing, as opposed to, art is channeled. I'm not saying, but for me, that's my channeling.
Right.
That I can do a painting, and I have no idea where that has come from.
Oh, interesting.
I could not recreate it. I do it, and I think, how the hell did I do that? Because I didn't.
Yeah.
And for me, that's my sort of spiritual bit, is that I consciously channel those paintings that I do, and the art.
So now, do you have a website that people can go to?
I do. I have a website, ginoparisi.com.
Okay.
All my art is on there.
Awesome.
I'm having exhibitions.
That's That's awesome.
people are, complimenting me on my work. And part of that transformation for me was, for various reasons, pre-course, I would want to be invisible. I didn't want to be. Now,
Oh, okay.
I've got a website. I'm doing this, which is going to go on YouTube, which thousands of people are going to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to be visible anymore. I've got a voice. I want to show my art. And, even today, it sounds silly, but, in my sort of signature on my email, I have my art and a painting. And I emailed an estate agent today, and she emailed back, said, "Oh, I love that painting of yours." I thought, yeah, buy it.
It's for sale.
I put it out there.
You're not hiding your light under a bushel anymore. See,
No.
Isn't that interesting? A phrase like that's in the Bible, don't hide your light under a bushel. We kind of know what it means, but once you're out from under the bushel, which is obviously what's happened to you and me too, is, oh yeah, we were hiding, we were ashamed, we were guilty, but we didn't know it. All we knew is that we were suffering, we were unhappy, or we were poor, or we were in the wrong job or whatever. But once you see, oh, wow, the energy that you're bringing to your life now, the love that you're bringing to what you do, the purpose, very much not hiding your light under a bushel. And so, that phrase comes to life for you, right?
Yeah, it has. And in addition to that, I mean, although I don't have a regular job in that sense, way before the course, there was something, at the time, I think I was a teacher, I was a school teacher of all things. And something pushed me to go and do a counseling therapy course. And this was back in 2005. This was way, way before.
Yeah.
And that now is coming really to the forefront. That qualification, those skills are coming to the forefront, because now I'm getting clients. I'm getting therapy. I'm setting up a therapy business.
Oh, okay.
And I've been doing that, and it's since the course, it's developed. But I can see now my therapy, whatever you want to call it, is course-based.
Right.
And I'm sat there sometimes, and I think, where is this? I'm talking, and I think, where is this information coming from? And I'm thinking, this is ACIM stuff. This isn't me. This isn't the theory that I learned in uni about Freud and all that. This is ACIM based.
Right.
If I kind of relate it to a psychological theory, it doesn't make sense. I think, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
So now, really, I'm a course therapist.
Right. That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
If you come to me, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about sin. I'm talking about judgment. I'm talking about projection. I'm talking about the inner and the outer. I'm talking about all that. Well, we're talking about that. We're working on those healing.
Yes.
So for me now, what's left, my art's always been there, and this therapy has come up, which I did years ago, not knowing why the hell I was doing it.
Yeah.
But I think
see, this is
being prepared.
So this is the thing that I kind of tell people is that, when they hear like, oh, you've let family go, you've let friends go. But the fact is, what I see is that often we're so out of accord with ourselves that we do have to go through a clarification process. And it doesn't mean you're going to lose everything. What it means is you're going to lose that which is not loving.
Yes.
And you're going to keep that which is the true you. So, for example, that desire for counseling, that education there, that was a little bit of the true you sneaking up. You didn't really know what it was for, but now you're like, oh yeah, this is something I'd like to do. So there was, spirit was at play way back then. But I think people's fear of loss is a big, barrier to doing something like a course. I actually have said in the past, the course should actually have a warning on the cover. Because your life is going to change. But the truth is, most people want their lives to change. And it's an act of faith that you're not going to lose the valuable, you're going to lose the valueless. And that doesn't mean that friends and family are valueless, but if they're functioning in a completely different worldview, completely different frequency than you, and we just talked about this before we started recording, you can love them, but you may not be able to hang out with them.
Yeah. And that idea of, yeah, you will lose stuff. You will lose people, places, things that when I look back, all the stuff that I've lost, actually, I didn't bloody want it in the first place. I don't want it. I lost a government career with a great salary. Do you know what? There is no point in my life where I actually said, that's what I really, really want. I lost it. I walked away from it because I didn't want it. So I didn't lose anything.
No.
I've gained, the most important thing I've gained is freedom.
Yeah.
To the point now, Tina, I have to check what day it is.
Yeah. I never know what day it is.
What day it is.
It's actually a great sign.
And I think, oh, that's really good because I'm not restricted. I'm free.
Yeah.
And I'm doing now what I want to do, not what everybody else wants me to do.
Right.
I am becoming the me that that was always there in the background, that was crying out to come out.
Yeah.
And I sort of symbolically, I suppose, I've come out of the closet again. I had to come out of the closet several times, but this for me was, again, I'm not hiding.
Yes.
I'm not hiding anymore because I'm not ashamed or unloving to myself. That's what it's done for me.
Yeah.
Is to, you're okay. You can come out. You can speak. You can do your art. You can show people your art. 5 years ago, I would have never dreamt of putting my art out, and purely because of fear. So what the course does, and it did for me, was remove the fears.
Mm-hmm.
Remove all those different layers of fear. And it's like an onion, peeling away at the different levels of fears. And I think that, I still have some, I'm aware of that. But the day that I don't is the day that I don't have to be here anymore. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Face those fears. And luckily, I brought this book into my life, this blue book. I can't, and I genuinely think sometimes that where the hell would I be today if it hadn't been for that? I don't know.
Well, by the sounds of how you were doing health-wise and mentally at your job, you could have been in a mental institution, or
I think, yeah.
I mean, I've told people I don't think 20 years ago, I've done 20 years with the course, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be here.
People saying when that happened and I broke down in work and I thought, I can't do this. It was almost like, oh, pat Gino on the back, he's having a breakdown. And I remember you saying to me, no, Gino, it's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. And God bless that moment.
Yes.
That I had the courage to go, I can't do this, and walk out.
Yeah.
Because that was the turning point. And the course wasn't even in my life, but it was the catalyst for me to go and it bring into my life to think, right, Tina, I have tried everything to be happy. Absolutely everything.
Yeah.
The point with that day was like, I've run out of ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tried everything.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the dysfunctional mind can't fix itself. And most of us don't realize, we have dysfunctional minds that believe in lies, that believe in things that aren't true, that's very confused because you've got bank commercials and the church and your mother, and they're all telling you different things, but you take everything in. So you've got this horrible mishmash of beliefs that makes you crazy because there is no consistency to it. And so you become erratic, you become emotionally unstable because you're basing your decisions on beliefs that aren't yours and aren't true.
Yeah. And they're lies.
And that many of them are lies. And your life ends up a shit show and you don't know why. Because you've just been doing what people told you to do. And so it's a huge, huge process going through the course. And I think you've covered some wonderful, wonderful aspects of it. But for the last question here, in closing, why should people undertake this task? Because some people may be listening and thinking, oh, that sounds like a crazy journey. Why should they undertake the course? Why should they do it?
You know what? I can only relate to me. It changed my world. And I think I got to the point where when I was listening to videos and reading your books and going, oh, I've got to do this blue book. I keep being told I've got to do this blue book. It was almost like, I've got no other choices, so I might as well do this.
Yeah.
This
Because you
could be-
tried everything. You tried
Yeah.
everything.
I
Yeah.
literally have lived a very hectic, chaotic life. I could write a book. Yeah. And literally, it's like, right, I've done everything. I give up. Let me try this.
Yeah.
Because what's the other option? And like I think I said before, but the way I know that it's changed is the way I look at my world now on the outside. So
Right.
therefore, I know the inside has changed. So there's my evidence that it works, because it does work. But you have, and the course will say, you just have to be a little tiny bit willing. Let the course do the
Do its
rest.
job. Yeah, because it does do it for you. You don't really have to know what it's doing.
And you don't, and it's very subtle.
Yeah.
And then you look back.
And not, and I mean, it's subtle on a daily basis, but when you look at, let's say, 5 or 6 years, that's not a very long time for a life to be completely changed. It's not that long.
When I think of it, when I look back now, so everything has changed. Everything.
Yeah. My
whole life has changed because of it. But I can categorically 100% say it is for the better.
Right.
And I will never, ever give up that course. That book will be with me for the rest of my life. I know that because I can't live without it. Because what it gives me peace. It gives me an answer to those questions. It gives me an answer to my suffering.
Yeah.
It gives me, and it's never, ever let me down. There have been times where I've gone, oh, I don't want to throw it out.
I threw it across the room a couple of times.
But then it's like, get a bit of a cry and then you pick it back up and you go back. and that's why people should do it.
Right.
Because it will change your life. You won't notice it until you're like 5 years down the line, and then you turn around and say, job's different, place different, relationship different, I'm different. Peace. Oh God, is that what peace is like? Walking in the park with your dog, on a winter's day, and just not
being happy with simple things. Yeah.
And that happened to me today, and I was working. There was a little robin on the tree, and I stopped, and this little robin came out, and I started talking to the robin. And that to me is a miracle, because that's peace.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're driven by the ego, that's not what the ego considers peace. The ego doesn't understand peace. It
might even say it's pathetic.
Yeah,
to talk to a robin. Yeah, I mean, right?
Why are you doing that? But hello, it gives you peace. What it thinks is peace is what I hunted for 40 odd years, was money, success, things, love, sex, rock and roll, all those drugs and alcohol and all those things, and traveling around the world hunting for something I never found. And now I find it walking in a park, talking to a little robin.
It is a miracle. Yeah.
And that to me is a miracle.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I do say it's called, sometimes people go, oh, this happened. It is called Course in Miracles for a reason. It is a great name. Yeah.
And miracles happen to me every day.
Mm-hmm.
Now the ego will say, well, a miracle should be, I don't know, winning the lottery, doing this, having this success. No, a miracle is having that peace.
And having a purpose in your life that you love and enjoy every day. Like, that's crazy good.
And a miracle is where somebody looks at my art and says how wonderful it is. That to me is a miracle. I think, oh, that's wonderful. That's what I'm here for. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have dared shown anyone my art. Now I just do it. Yeah. That to me is a miracle. Yeah. And the biggest miracle that I think it gave me, it's given me, which showed me how to love myself, most importantly.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
and
We
realize,
say if it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
yeah, you know,
Right.
that's the big thing for me, and that I have no sin.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me. Having been brought up Catholic, I think the judgment and the sin is what's been removed.
So now we're going to have to not call you a recovering Catholic, but a recovered Catholic. If you no longer believe in sin, then you are you declared recovered.
Yeah.
Okay, Gino, thank you so much. That was really lovely to hear your stories. That's so wonderful. So everybody listening and watching today, go to ginoparisi.com. So that's GINOPARESI.com.
Yeah. Paris with an I on the end. That's the easiest way.
ISI at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But I'll put it on the description box or in the screen or something. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Gino. And will I get to see you in June?
Well, my plan is that I am going to come to your Sedona retreat when you organize one. I've been told that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll be doing a Sedona event next fall, probably next fall or next spring. So, okay.
Because
well,
I was given a message to go, no, you're going to go to Sedona. I said, all right, but they haven't organized one. I said, well, it doesn't matter.
No, yeah, we took off doing that this year. We did some other things. Okay, well then I'll see you in the fall.
I will see you in Sedona.
Okay, thanks, Gino, so much.
Thank you very much, Tina. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.